It really has there's a lot of jiu-jitsu that kind of overlaps in here, and we're going to be starting with the rear choke, and it's the rear naked choke, the choke that you don't need a uniform for. I also have some students over here watching, so what's up guys? There's students in the back watching, you guys can't see. The rear naked choke, the choke that doesn't involve the uniform. The first thing is I became really, really good at this choke the day that I received my blue belt in jiu-jitsu. This is my actual blue belt. This was given to me by Hoist Gracie in 1996, I think, 97. I don't even know when it was. It was a long time ago, right? And I went to the seminar, and the blue belt promotion story is like one of my favorite stories. But what I'm going to tell you guys is a story about how I drove 6 hours, and I was really excited to learn all kinds of amazing jiu-jitsu from Hoist Gracie. And we did one move for the whole seminar. And this was at a time, I think I spent like 120 bucks for the seminar. I had to get a hotel, that was another 120 bucks. This was a time in my life that money may have well been $1 million. Like I did not have $120. I was like sleeping in the dojo, just eating like ramen noodles every day. But I went there specifically in hopes of gaining my blue belt and learning some things. And all we did was rear naked choke the entire time. And I went home so excited about this belt, but so disappointed in what I learned, because I felt like I wasted my time because we spent hours just doing the rear naked choke. But something happened is when I came home, I destroyed everybody with the choke. I was like unstoppable with this choke. And it was like, wow, like I really learned a lot of good details. And now Roger, you get to get choked. It's gonna be awesome. So the rear naked choke. So let's start here. I'm gonna choke you, buddy, okay? Is that good? Yeah. So first of all, how I do the choke. I'm going to take my arm here, and I'm not going to reach way over like this, because if I reach way over, he'll see that coming, he'll block it really easy, right? So just go ahead and just use your hands as a block. Oops, sorry. So I take my knuckle here, and I start with that kind of by his ear, and I dig that nice and tight, like there. Now I have my gi on, he has his gi on, but I want to tell you that this is a lot easier if you don't have a gi. It slips in a lot easier. So here I dig this here, and I'm going to go to the middle of his throat, middle of my arm to the middle of his throat. All right, now this arm here, I come like this. I'm going to grab my bicep or shoulder here like this, but I'm not going to leave my arm out, because if I leave my arm out like that, he can pull my arm down. Go ahead, Roger. And we call that the jackpot arm bar, right? You got to yell jackpot if you get it. Ready? Jackpot. Jackpot! All right, so jackpot arm bar. So I hide this, right? So I'm here and here, and this happens simultaneously. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go 1, 2, right, but it happens simultaneously. My hands are like this. One palm's facing you, one palm's facing me, and I go like that. So I'm here, simultaneously I'm coming here. Now that I have the choke, right, I have to focus all my energy on the carotid arteries. That's what's going to choke them out. So I'm squeezing the carotid arteries. Just like that. Another trick that I do is I take a big breath in as I'm choking him. And what that does is it makes it so there's no space. I don't want any space here. So when I breathe in, you feel how it takes the space away. And then the next thing is the choke is done with my body, not my arm. So I'm not just using my arm to choke him, but I'm using my body. And the way that I do it is with my feet in. I have the hooks in. So if I have the hooks in here, I'd fall to my dominant side. Let's turn this way a little bit, Roger. So let's go here. Let's have you know, don't make fun of me for my socks that don't match. It's winter time here. There's a blizzard. It's like, what are we at? -3 degrees or something like that. So that's why I have the socks on. Here we go. I'm going to fall to the dominant side. And then when I do that, I extend my legs. So my legs arch. Okay, so here we go. Now, when I'm here like this, if I squeeze him, he'll tap. But if I arch my back, he's going to tap. And so I do both. I squeeze and I arch my back, and it's the most powerful choke in the martial arts. So that is the rear naked choke. You don't have to be naked to do it, but you don't need a uniform to apply it either. Okay, let's practice. Okay, hey, real quick, before we conclude this, let's show this also. So from here, if I'm going for the choke, the number one reaction someone's going to give me, and we always talk about this, is that this is not how to, okay, pull my arm down to escape the choke. That's not how to escape the choke, okay? But the natural reaction is they're going to do that. And so if we're here and he starts to pull my arm down, okay, just let it go. I'm not going to use strength versus strength. Now look at, now I have that side, right? So him here, he pulls my arm down. Okay, no problem. Just trap the arms, use the other arm instead. and then you got it. Details on this choke, and I received my blue belt. I asked Hoist a dumb question. What if they put their chin down? And he said, oh, okay, come on over here and put your chin down. And so Carmen, go to choke me. And my chin's down, okay? So my chin's down? No, just crush me, just squeeze. Oh, it's way worse. Oh, thanks for almost breaking my jaw, Carmen. So you're gonna put the chin down. Don't do this to your friends in martial art class. They're not gonna like you. They're gonna call the instructor and say they want their money back, and they're gonna go somewhere else because you're gonna get all smashed. But the reality is, you put your chin down, crush them. It's not gonna feel good. So we're at this part in the curriculum where we're talking about naked chokes. So when I say a naked choke, I just mean a choke that does not involve clothing or a uniform. And we just showed the standard rear naked choke, but now we're going to go a little further and show some of the other variations that we have. So one of these variations is just the basic guillotine choke. Basic guillotine. So why don't you guys come on over here? So basic guillotine choke. Who wants to choke who? John, why don't you choke Roger? All right, so basic guillotine choke. Maybe from a head tie up.
Okay, so we'll...
Okay, and now all John is going to do is go over the top of Roger's head, catch his hands together, and then just lift up to create the choke. It's so easy to do, right? Very easy to do. So one more time.
Can I do this immediately? Yeah, we can do this. Sure.
There you go. All right, now John, I'm going to borrow you. You're going to learn an escape real quick, okay? So now, come on over here. So now, let's go this way. So let's say I have John here. If I drape my arm away around him like this, his escape can be simply to look up and then go to my back. See? So I'm not intending to show escapes right now in this video, but I think it's important to understand this escape because I can show you how to change that situation really fast. So from here, if my arm is draped over him, he can look up at the ceiling. There's a couple other ways to do this, but it's really easy, right? So now, when I have the choke here, I'm going to let John do it to me. Don't choke me too hard, John, all right? Okay, so we're here like this. And see how he's here? And now I could look up. But if he takes his tricep, or right here, and he puts it on the top of my head, like there, now try it. And I can't look up. Okay, you try that to me now, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm here, if I was here, he can look at the ceiling. But if I start with my tricep on the top of his head, now try to look at the ceiling. Now there's no escape. And then you're going to get that guillotine choke. I wanted to show that guillotine choke first because the technique that we're about to show comes off that guillotine choke. And this choke has been modernized as the Von Flu choke. And Jason Von Flu was somebody who fought in the UFC, and a lot of people, pretty much everybody, has just kind of named this choke after him. Now this choke is actually thousands of years old, but I also think it's really cool that they honored him and kind of named it after him after he kind of reintroduced it into the world and showed how cool it can be. So here Roger's getting choked. He's going to look his head up. Now he's going to go here. Now look at right here. Roger's forearm or bicep is going to cut off the artery on John's the side here. And now he's going to look up. He's going to meet his hands together. And John, you okay, John? And John's getting choked. All right, let's see it again from another angle. All right, so let's kind of move around. We'll see it again from another angle. So now we're trying to cut off the arteries on each side. So Roger's going to cut this one off here. And now John's shoulder is going to push into his artery to cut the other one off. Good. Now we see this. You guys good? Well, I'm glad I have both of these guys here so I don't have to get choked the whole time. But a really basic way to explain this is if Roger throws a straight right hand punch at me straight and I slip it. No, I said straight, right in time to not get hit with a hook. So he throws it straight and I slip it. I can bring my hand right up and make the choke here. If you see it from this angle like this, see I slip here. Or if you grab my head here. I like to say these variations of chokes like this are fairly limitless. There's so many things you can do. And you can also modify these on the ground. And what I always like to say is the ground creates an anchor, where when we're standing up, they're swinging, they're going all over the place, but when we're on the ground, they're really stuck in an anchor. And that's kind of where we're going to show this next Von Flu choke that we decided to put in the curriculum. But let's show how this can be basically done on the ground. So Rod, and now you can catch the artery on the side of his neck. There you go. And you there, and now that you're basically putting his shoulder or his arm into the carotid artery, and then of course his bicep has the other side. And so the nice thing about being on the ground is the ground creates an anchor and Roger cannot escape as easy now. Now if we were to go with the person on the bottom doing this move, we can do the same thing. So now John, you can go inside Roger's legs, inside the guard position. We can see Roger can apply the move to John the same way from the bottom. Good. You're going to find that when you apply these techniques on the ground, because of the principle of creating an anchor, it really kind of makes it harder for your opponent to escape. You're able to use more leverage using your body weight, and techniques become much more effective. So now we're going to take it back down to the ground, and I'm going to show a really good escape. When you're stuck in the guillotine choke and you're on the ground, how you can escape the move and choke them back. So here we go. What we have here is Roger has his son Magnum stuck in the guillotine choke, and it's a really tough choke because what's happening is that Roger is able to use his legs and his whole body to lengthen his son to make the choke. So he comes up and he's going to hit the guillotine choke. Okay, bad news for the guy getting choked, right? But the start of this escape is to now he can take his hand here, his arm, and using his arm he can cut off the artery on the side of the neck there. Now, he's going to come off of his feet, or not off his feet, but off of his knees, and he's going to drive his dad's shoulder into his artery, and this arm's in the artery, and he's just going to keep driving until the person on the bottom either taps, goes unconscious, or lets go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to see this choke in action from a standing up to a defense to a takedown. And what's happening is Magnum here, he has his dad Roger stuck in a guillotine choke. Now, what Roger's going to do is he's going to shoot like a double leg takedown and continue the choke, but he's going to clear the legs to the side. And now we find ourselves here. So now from here, this is a very common mistake that people will make, holding on to the head so long. Another principle of the martial arts is to let go when you need to let go. But Magnum on the bottom, he's not letting go. So what his dad Roger's going to do is he's going to do the same escape. So he's going to go ahead and catch the artery there. But now this is really tough here because this arm is trapped. And he's making it so the arm cannot get out of there. And now he's just going to choke him. And he won't be able to let go at all. He's going to have to tap or go unconscious. One thing that I want to point out is I use the term limitless a lot. And the reason why I use the term limitless is because the martial arts have changed a lot in the last 100 years. Some of these techniques go back like 5,000 years, but they've been modified, they've been changed. And so the martial arts really can be limitless that way, as we can always continue evolving these martial arts. And here's our version of the Anaconda choke without a uniform on, and it's a really awesome choke. It's a high-level technique. Let's see it. Here we're going towards his legs, and he's on top. So we start from this position, okay? Now this is a very common position in grappling, and Roger's going to apply something called the Anaconda choke. He's going to go over the arm over there and then catching the artery. Now the other hand is actually going to go, not there, but it's going to come on the outside, yes. He's going to catch his bicep, he's going to bring his other hand up. Now there's a gap between his elbow and her knee, and he's going to dive his head into that gap. He rolls her over. Now that he's applied this, he could just squeeze and tap her out. Like, he squeezed real hard, he's a real strong guy, he could probably tap her out. But he could also move his legs this way and create the pressure using his whole body against her. Okay, good, nice job.